So yeah, the first game of the other semifinals that we weren't able to stream, but you could have probably seen them streamed on HerroOP's channel. So if you have seen them, well, you probably don't need to be watching if you have fresh memories of that match. That's gonna be HerroOP with Loki and Gold Lion playing as Oranos. And against them is gonna be Kiludai with Ra and Thomas Shelby with Seth. So double a game, fairly interesting decision to be actually coming for this. They're gonna be playing on Savannah, which is quite aggressive game and map, but it doesn't have to be all that bad, especially for Seth. Gonna be getting plenty of animals here, and since we don't have right about now the observer point of view, yeah, well, you're gonna be having all the fog of war that you can be potentially mastering for some kind of important decisions, battles, ratings, and stuff like that, which is unfortunately not available in the normal game when we are streaming live. I definitely will be liking that, but that's not how the game actually is going to be starting and going to be available to be cast. So there we go. This gold mine is certainly a bit forward for HerroOP, but looking at the closing forest lines right here, it's probably not gonna be that much of a problem, especially considering that they are against Egyptians, so the raiding doesn't seem all that much of a reality for him. Would be quite nice for gold line here as well, as the back TCs, as we are on Savannah, are gonna be fairly safe-ish, and we should be expecting maybe a few gold mines. Probably in the corners, doesn't seem maybe one is gonna be somewhere in the middle, as they are already scouting a bit more to the right, finding some more gold mines, exactly as we have said, is gonna be a potential for it, but the right now combination of the gold mine with the town center on the right flank for gold line is certainly not bad, and kind of inviting to maybe even taking it, because, well, he's gonna have to control the map, as the TCs have spawned fairly close to each other, so against an Egyptian that might be quite dangerous, but we need to be switching into the other side of the map, as Kiludai has already discovered the DC and also the gold mine, but, well, even a few giraffes all the way to the top. But problem is that he basically knows that he's gonna be against an aggressive gold, so therefore he cannot afford the front TC at all. Interesting gold mine in there. And he's starting gold, well, quite far away, on the way to the back TC, so basically this is even like telling him, please go for the second TC all the way to the back as soon as possible, so that he can be limiting even some kind of raiding for him. As for his teammate, his gold mine is going to be a bit more to the top, with a bit of a wood line in there to help him in the protection as well. But much more importantly, he hasn't discovered the back TC and even the front TC yet, but the back is gonna be probably somewhere here. Well, maybe not, we're gonna be seeing it quite soon, as let's first check the ship of fingernails as the relic, and there we go. Let's have a look into the whole map, as you don't need the fog of war, at least for the time being. Now this is kind of interesting spawn of the front TCs on the left between Thomas Shelby and HerroOP. For HerroOP, it's gonna be having the gold there. Should be easy to get to, and it's, well, kind of a bit normal distance from the TC. But looking at the giraffes on the left side, and on top of that, a relic for LOS and range is fairly curious. They're actually fairly not bad. That could be helpful for him, and definitely important for his opponent not to be taking that, as all the way to the top there is gonna be right about now the TC for Thomas Shelby, which is definitely inviting for the second TC yet again. This time it might be even like the front one. It's a bit further away from the base, which is kind of like not great. That might be basically forcing him into not going for it all that much and going for the safe option. Problem is he doesn't have any gold mine here. You can see there's absolutely no gold behind the enemy bases. The closest to being safe is this, and then the one in the corner. So I'm kind of thinking that Shelby might be even forced to go for that town center, and that is not ideal. Though it will be having a bit of a silver lining with this gold mine. So if he gets away with it, it could be alright, but question is if he is really gonna be getting away with it, as HerroOP, as the aggressive god, might be waiting for him exactly there. Already hunters of course coming forward for the giraffes, which is definitely expected. There's gonna be plenty of hunt all the way to the right for gold line, next to the relic for better cavalry and chariot archer 8 points. Nice for him. Maybe potentially for Kontara raiding, but much more importantly, it doesn't have to fall into the enemy hands. That's much more important than anything else. As he's moving for... No! Is he really moving for the 2 gazelles here? Luckily with only 3 villages, because this is not exactly all that optimal. He's gonna have to move from this position fairly quickly. So only 3 villages is alright. Gonna be having 4 all the way to the top in the middle, and he really doesn't have to be worried about anything all much. So maybe it could be worthwhile to be just sending everybody into the middle, as he can be expecting shifting sands from the set. That is certainly a reality. And, no, well, from there potentially as well. Gonna be curious if it's gonna be double shift. If they're gonna be trying some kind of double shift nonsense on the opponents, that's definitely gonna be curious. But don't tell me this is gonna be Will Rush. Because right now he's sending absolutely everything into gold. With even the elephant. He's really not gathering anything else, right? Just a few gold hunt or other hunters in the middle. And that's pretty much all that he's doing. A few more on the right side for the food. As he has already right now advancing through Ptah. And he's having really tons of them in there. But it really seems it's gonna be just for the second TC. It seems unlikely for a full-on mid rush, even though it wouldn't be all that impossible. I mean, like, you can imagine it with the Ra, double shifting sands on the opposing base, stealing the TC, completely destroying them with villages. It would be definitely mem strategy right there. But nah, this is gonna be standard, apparently dropping with a few priests and even elephants. Or is it? Villages are not moving, so good. Good. It's going to be standard. He's already casting right about now the vision. So let's gonna see what he sees. He's gonna be dropping probably here, and oh well, it's actually going to be potentially double shifting sense. Right now he's gonna be saving the villages by moving them around the tower. The one probably should be staying there because he was almost dead. The shifting sense right now dropping onto the goal, and it is really double shifting sense on the opponent. And HerroOP is really suffering right now, losing about 3 villages, and of course most of the gold carrying capacity and like gold mining capacity. But though HerroOP is still knowing about the gold mine at the back, he knows about this one, he's still having a few hunters in there, and he's having a few more all the way to the top, which I don't think have been scouted. Oh, they have. Yeah, they're already not going to be having the lifeline on them, so he's gonna be moving exactly into that position, so they know where to go, and they are already running away, because obviously HerroOP has seen where the army is going, and he's gonna be dodging that like a pro. Nicely done. As on the right flank, because of the vision from the spy, they're gonna be moving exactly into the villages from red player, and obviously the VD fighting is gonna be powerful even against the little Prometheans, but it doesn't mean he cannot be annoying. He's just basically trying to force them off the gathering all the time. And we're gonna be right now watching into the middle where there is still plenty of hunt for the blue player, and considering that right now the second TC is being made by both of the Egyptians, he basically knows, well, he doesn't know, but he's gonna be realizing, and probably even like knowing at this point, that he can be right now gathering in the middle for quite a long time, for about like next 4 or 5 minutes before the threat is going to be becoming real, as the elephants are still coming into the battle, but so are right now gonna be their Herseers with plenty of numbers, so Budget is gonna be, and well, Budget should be dying first. He's the most dangerous with the shooting. Bit of a killing of the animals is gonna be certainly helping for all the villages from the blue player. Yeah, killing the elephants is gonna be of course a bit complicated, but still that is gonna be kinda nice favor. 288 for the Loki is not all that bad, and he can be quite welcome in that, so everything is done. Right now even the priest is gonna be done, and well, that relic is not gonna be coming into his home or village, because the Valkyrie is not gonna be having exactly all that huge attack, only 6. Only 6 against the Pharaoh, so that's basically half, but still it's a quite long haul. So yeah, the Pharaoh is gonna be in the end dying. Sobek Nerfu as on the right flank, the Raiden is still continuing from gold line, and that wasn't all that much of a surprise, so kill you die will have to be going somewhere else, as the Trios bow, well, that is for LOS and range of the archers and chariot archers really could have been quite useful, as all the way to the bottom the hunt has been already disrupted enough, and he does have at least a few golds, but question is if he's right now having enough gold for his farms. Is having already Shaduf or not? So far the Shaduf is not there. You cannot exactly see if it's gonna be already done, but armor is coming up, so he definitely will have to be preparing for that kind of switch. As in the middle there's gonna be nothing all that major, but still HerroOP potentially could be attacking it so that he can get a bit of a favor from that. But he wants to be having right about now the Herseers on quite a bit more raiding duty than just basically bashing into the building, and therefore he's even checking all the way to the back with the Valkyrie, and they are even unfortunately Shelby losing a villager right now to the line in there. Yeah, well, and another one doesn't seem all that far behind either, as the villages are trying to help, but the Valkyrie is probably gonna be right now turning back to the bottom and maybe helping with ridding a few of those villages their lives altogether. As of course, you're gonna be looking at plenty of baboons already dead, and this is pretty much the reason why lately players don't like it all that much. As there's a bit of right now joining of the armies of HerroOP and Gold Lion, as the baboons tend to be spreading quite a bit. For Atlantean it shouldn't be a single problem, for the others it can be if you are not paying attention in there, which kinda you usually don't want to be doing that. And the inefficiency is definitely there, because you need to be walking from here back to there. Yeah, that's why monkeys are not exactly in fashion lately. Even though in the olden times, well, it was still hunt, so everybody was going for the monkeys as well. Nobody was having any kind of problem with that. And yeah, players right now decided that this is not going to be worthy source of food, as opposed to, for example, Thomas Shelby, who is this game rarely having a bit different idea, as Drain is already coming in. And the Valkyrie is still scouting all the way to the top, which kinda seems to be waiting for the gold. Is he actually looking at it? Yeah, he's having exactly the vision. So he's basically scouting the gold mine with the Valkyrie in there. So you're gonna be switching over right now on the point of view of the raiding team, so that we properly know what they are gonna be watching and where they're gonna be running. And this is right now quite a nice play, even though he's receiving plenty of damage, which is usually discouraged. He's basically right now just disrupting the economy by not allowing all that many villages basically gather the food from the farms, and during the rain that's of course quite a double bonus for him if he can be achieving that. So very nicely done, as he's even moving forward with plenty of units, not exactly moving them right about now. Remember what we talked about by using multiple alien parties at the same time. Yeah, it seems that Gold Line is not exactly interested in that, just being consumed by Micro in the battle here, and potentially even looking at the economy at the backside and still continuing in production of the units. As he's right now switching over and actually off. So he's gonna be maybe heading into like a heroic age as he's finishing with the second TC, and he's right now stockpiling next to front one of his opponent. Gonna be trying to really control it as much as possible, as the Valkyrie in the end, before she's gonna be dying, she's gonna be killing at least one of the villagers. No, well, those three probably wouldn't be killing her anyway. And that's gonna be a TC taken by HerroOP on the left. It's gonna be a second. But yeah, well, it's not really that far away from the front TC of Thomas Shelby. So you should be right now checking across the players who's gonna be ready for the heroic age. So far, Thomas Shelby not. Kill You Die is already gonna be clicking into Hathor, so he got enough food from all of that. As right now the raiding is gonna be continuing, but at least a few priests with the Pharaoh are gonna be well enough capable of at least stopping that little assault and the army. But he already knows that plenty more Turmas are waiting in the front, so this gold mine in there is gonna be quite important to keep safe. But much more importantly, this TC is not gonna be all that easy to be actually right now taken care of and getting into his power. So that's quite a nice tactical walling by HerroOP on the left. Oh well, probably doesn't seem to be all that finished, unless he hasn't scouted it. Yeah, he just hasn't scouted it. And it's gonna be just a counter walling. Oh, bit of a misclick, going for the wood instead of going for the wall in there. Unfortunate. As the raiding party is still continuing, right now only 120 gold. He still needs to be moving and already needs to be moving anywhere else. And it seems that the walling though is finished. Yeah, there's not any kind of way through, and it seems that at this side is gonna be completely blocking. Yep. The Us are completely blocking that, so the army needs to be going all around. And right now Kill You Die definitely cannot wait enough so that he could be getting... There was a bit of a shockwave, right? That was a weird one. You can exactly see where it happened all that much. Well, there we are. The Migro is gonna be dropped in quite a defensive position, and really right now he has to be fighting quite a bit for the gold, because if he doesn't, then he is down to only 200 gold, and he doesn't have much more. He's having literally 120 gold, so he could be still getting from his ally a bit, I'm expecting, because he's gonna be having a bit easier access to it, especially with the one all the way to the back and the one to the left side, so he's having a much better map Thomas Shelby than Kill You Die. But Gold Line is already right now sprinting forward with plenty of numbers, and those villages actually have quite a lot of gold at this point on them. It's gonna pause it on that. How much gold they actually having on them? 15, 15, 3, 5. They're actually having like about maybe on total 100 gold, which is definitely not something to underestimate. It'll be fairly important for them if they actually wanted it. And as all the way to the bottom, this is gonna be quite nicely done so far by Gold Line, trying to keep the opponent out of the gold, and he's doing quite an excellent job of that. As he's also scouting at the backside, trying to probably prevent the market, which is going to be becoming a reality as right now Tumas is exactly moving forward for the kill. There's not much of a chance that this villager is going to be surviving long enough for that. As all the way to the back, there's going to be HerroOP going for the back gold. Quite nice scouting and quite nice raiding, obviously, but he knew about it from a bit before, so it's not like it's all that much of a surprise. And still brazenly gathering the food in the middle of the map there, because he knows he can afford it, as the opponents are just not really raid ready yet. Thomas Shelby doesn't have all that much of a dangerous army, to be honest, at this point. Just slingers and axemen without all that many upgrades on them. Not like HerroOP is having all that many upgrades himself, but still, he's having pretty much a good army at this point against that. He's moving on the hunt still into the middle, it seems, maybe even into the monkeys. Siege works, we have heard them being finished, and what is going to be really planned with the gold? Because at this point, the gold line, really what he needs to do is camping next to the gold mine and basically trying to keep an eye on the one in the middle. Maybe even this one. It could be potentially something that actually Red could be having a bit of a thought about, as there's a bit of raiding all the way to the top by HerroOP. She's gonna be killing one villager at least and disrupting 2 more. Schemos are finally coming up in numbers, and Kilura is down to only 4 gold. He's having still 1600 right now wood, and he can be dropping the market somewhere, which he already did. So he can be at least selling wood for a bit of gold, but it's definitely not all that efficient and all that great, as Gold Line is really strangling him quite well. Now it's still going to be quite interesting to see what happens to the top, because Thomas Shelby is having all the gold that he needs. Let's switch into his point of view, as he's right now at, well, not really all that many resources. You can see he's still stuck in the classical age as his HerroOP and Gold Lion. But I would be assuming at this point, with Gold Lion getting the back TC in there, so basically being at 3 already, he's gonna be well prepared. And is this gonna be attempt to steal? HerroOP. No, he can actually steal this TC if he wants to, if he feels brave and cheeky. Question is if it's actually a good idea against Egyptians, because Egyptians can usually take it down fairly easily by just a few siege towers behind like their lines. It's not really all that bad, but looking at the strong presence right now the Gold Lion is having, and even stopping the trade, this is really well done. Stopping the single unit that can be getting the gold back for him. It seems that maybe it could be worthwhile to at least think about that. But he's trying to position so far at least a tower, so that he can be making sure that the TC is gonna be taking a lot more effort to be produced than just basically taking it for free in there. Okay, it's another market. That was probably another attempt to get something a bit more efficient for him, so he doesn't have to be blocking all that much of a pass somewhere else. As right now Blue is also gonna be breaching through the walls in the middle and getting much more importantly 30C at the back, if you look at the minimap. But right now the camels, they are in quite solid numbers. Problem is, yet again, that Kilivira just doesn't have anything else right about now to do. He can only sell wood, and that is gonna be working for like a few minutes. But question is how long this is actually gonna be lasting. As finally right now Kilivira is trying to be yet again going for the gold mine. Could be maybe trying to block it from the back, but he probably knows about all the army. So he's gonna be running away in time. He probably will be coming down in... No, maybe he doesn't even need to, because he's gonna be losing like one villager if actually Gold Line is gonna be checking them out. That there are a few that are like one shot, and with this amount of turmas he's gonna be one shotting anything that he wants pretty much. Even almost you can see the camel at 165 hit points at 30% pierce armor. Villagers though are having 54% pierce armor, so they're gonna be receiving a lot less damage, so maybe they're gonna be even able to survive the whole south in there. As all the way onto the left side, that's right about now Green having a bit of a problem with Blue, because Blue refuses to be having some kind of a huge engagement with the opponent. He just wants to be raiding all around, and that is actually well played. It's exactly how you should be playing as the North, as a raider. Oh well. Oh, they're having a hard time actually escaping from the position in here, the Dwarfies, unfortunately. Gonna be many of them dying, about like 5. And of course the gold disruption is gonna be quite noticeable for HerroOP. Let's check on that. So far he's having 600 gold. So luckily for him, it's a pretty good timing, but holy damn, this backfield. Yeah, this TC is gonna be very hard to be taken. As Thomas Shelby is finally getting at least into the heroic age. Let's switch into his point of view. He's having so far 800 gold. No? Is he gonna be dropping Migdol, or is he gonna be attempting to drop into faster mythic? That's a bit of a question, as that's some kind of nice raiding by Kirura in the middle as well, as HerroOP is gonna be losing yet again plenty of villages. So as we have seen in the other games today, that has been plaguing him like the whole time, like pretty much the whole time all together here. And in today's tournament, there is of course gonna be still a bit of an attempt to right now push off the gold mine at the bottom, which seems to be succeeding rather well. As on the left side, we are gonna be watching the Ancestors being cast right next to the TC, which might be kinda interesting. No, does he have enough to actually drop the TC? I'm not necessarily thinking so. He's right now gonna be dropping only first siege works. So he definitely doesn't have any siege, so it seems unlikely that this town center should be falling, especially looking at the Hersiers basically trying to pick fight only with the Ancestors and leaving and those pesky axemen all the way back to the tower and potentially even to the INAR. Nice. Quite nice indeed. Very well played by HerroOP. Thomas Shelby letting himself be outmaneuvered in there. Very well done by Blue, trying to find and exactly actualize on that kind of opportunity. And it's of course gonna be resulting into not much of an effect gain for Thomas Shelby. Maybe he's gonna be just getting a bit of extra time to be setting himself up. He still does have gold, he still does have plenty of food, so it should be probably some kind of Migdol nearby. Probably needs to be protecting the gold as soon as possible, but Migdol about here will be probably making that clear. And this is definitely dangerous. This way open into the middle, into the trade road. There is certainly something that Gold Line might be wanting to abuse sooner rather than later, as the villages all the way from the gold were yet again forced to retreat. As Red is doing quite a nice job with raiding with the camels. This is gonna be quite nice. Not all that much of an army, literally one turma right now from Gold Line catching after, but Gold Line is already at 40 TC, so he's gonna be able to really control the Egyptian rather well, and the gold is probably gonna be becoming more and more of a problem, even though HerroOP is losing right now villages like basically left and right. unfortunately not noticing fast enough, as he's probably consumed by the attack on his opponent, and that definitely makes sense, because he really wants to be right now making sure that he's gonna be controlling this part of the map, this gold mine, as he's realizing that the gold might be already running out for the players, and he also wants to be potentially making sure that this back build is not gonna be all that easily destroyed. And this is exactly what I was talking about a bit earlier, that basically back builds like these and trying to steal back TC from an Egyptian is usually quite risky. And this is exactly the reason. He just needs to be making a few siege towers, and you quite probably won't be having all that much army available to be basically fighting him there at the same spot. So yeah, it's a bit of a risk. If you have a plan, and proper one with a team, it can be working, but much more likely and much more often than not, especially from my experience from casting the games in the community streams and even tournament games, it's just not working when you are gonna be stealing a TC from back of the Egyptian when they are not really losing significantly in the front, which is exactly the case right about now. So you can be sparing at least a bit of a population limit in that and getting clear, or rather clear in that. But right now with Red, curiously enough, actually joining into the fight here, getting rid of the horses. So it's actually quite a nice assistance for him. Problem is that he's gonna be right now, of course, missing the army inside his base, but unfortunately Gold Lion just hasn't found a proper way how to push into the enemy, and luckily though, is that he's not allowing right now the gold to be gathered on the right flank for Kiludai. But Kiludai already does have at least the market going. How much is it giving him? Let's wait for the caravan here. How much does it give you? I need to be switching into Kiludai. 138, that's actually quite a solid trade. That's gonna be helping him quite a bit, keeping him alive. You can see right now he's having 900 gold, so he's gonna be even thinking about the mythical age, but his gold is completely gone, and it's gonna be all about the trade. So therefore, the game is gonna be turning exactly into what usual late game for Egyptians, or rather against Egyptians, is, and that is trying to disrupt trade. And it can be definitely damn difficult because of all the mercenaries they can be spamming on you. It's really kind of a bit of an interesting, like, not dilemma, but interesting situation, because like the Egyptians need the trade to survive, but once they have the trade, they are incredibly hard to get rid of that because of the mercenaries next to the TCs, especially if the TCs are not like really badly positioned. So it's a bit of a like head 22 almost, that once the Egyptian has the market and has it going, then it's kind of like really difficult for the attacking team to be getting rid of that. But yeah, well, that's how the game is, and players are still able to win, so it's definitely not impossible. But yeah, well, you need to be knowing what you are doing and how you are doing it. As the build up apparently is going to be rebuilt, Son of Osiris coming for Kiludai, gonna be switching into Thomas Shelby, who is unfortunately for him gonna be losing not only this TC, because of the vortex that was cast a bit earlier, but much more important, he's completely drained on resources, as he's trying to right now push into the blue base, which with this amount of siege works might be working. Fortunately, this last one cannot basically fit around the hole in there and around the healing spring. That's kind of a bit of a bad luck, but still, this TC is gonna be definitely a goner. But so is gonna be basically most of the army right about now for green, and since also there is going to be the army still continuing on yet another gold mining capacities in there, maybe even turning around on this town center. Doesn't seem all that unlikely, as the walking wolves are coming forward to help on the right flank from HerroOP. That, well, the Shelby might not be able to really gain anything from that pressure that he was right now mounting. As Gold Lion on the right side is going to be receiving quite significant help from all those trees, which are going to be continuing probably with the TC fairly promptly. As he's just making sure that this gold really doesn't come into the enemy hands, and even switching into a few Kontarai with the combination of destroyers, definitely not a bad idea, with the whole baseline of upgrades right now being done, and the trees, yeah, well, the ants definitely didn't like that. One poor axeman there. So there we go. Of course, right now even housing the opponent is quite a solid idea. Losing all the houses, it's something that also could be maybe used slightly more by players, but definitely nice that lately we see it a whole lot more often used. Especially in the community games, I noticed it a whole lot more in the past month than it was before, because it's really incredibly powerful thing. And especially if you are gonna be killing like random houses at some kind of distant places, or if you are going to be killing more houses at once, then it is really quite a solid tactical advantage. And even like half a minute of that is always quite important, as Thomas Shelby is already giving up. Right now Kiludai trying to see if he can save the TC here against those trees, still trying to take it down with a bit of help of some other units. A Son of Osiris, well, might be getting rid of that. Yeah, that was quite a solid hit into a tree with the extra damage against the mid unit, so he's gonna be able to save it. But unfortunately, that's gonna be already way too late, as most of the Teal's army is right now making its way onto the left side, and Thomas Shelby just didn't see how he could be making it work making it work, especially combined with the fact that the HerroOP was right nearby, retaking the TC, and his army wasn't exactly all that small at that point, as he was also going for a bit of a build-up all the way to the top there. All the way to the top. So there we go. This was the first game of the match. Let's check into the post-game, where Goldline is going to be having the high score. Overall, I think that actually this was yet again good team play by them. Very good raiding by HerroOP. He was also getting raided kind of heavily there at places, but he raided much more. And overall, it was very well executed from Goldline as well, as far as raiding go. So this was well done. Well done indeed. The map was... no, kind of slightly unfortunate. Well, slightly. It was unfortunate for the Egyptians. That has to be said, because they did not have any kind of back gold. This was like... you cannot even say this is a back gold at all for Kiludai. This was like the only that could be slightly considered back gold, but still, it was next to front TC of his, basically. And way far away from this town center, so that basically made it all that easier for the raiders to be keeping the Egyptians on edge. But yeah, that's how you play it, and if the map is going to be giving you such an opportunity, that's how you capitalize on it, and that's how you try to win. And it was actually fairly impressive by Kiludai how he was still able to keep himself alive with like literally 200 gold and nothing else. Then he built the market, tried to sell a bit of wood that he was still gathering, then he got the trade going, and it basically allowed him to be getting even into Mythical Age, even though he was pretty much like without gold whatsoever. And the normal circumstances. So that is how hard it is to deal with Egyptians when the player knows what he's doing, and Kiludai certainly knows that. But to be honest, Goldline is a solid Egyptian player himself, so he basically knows all the tricks. So he was kind of knowing what he needs to be doing. He was going exactly after the caravans as they were made as soon as possible, trying to go starve the opponent as much as possible, and in the end it was yielding their needed results. So yeah, of course didn't allow any kind of forward TC at all. And it was also one of the problems, as he was able to boom a whole lot better. And then it yielded the resulting win. So let's check into the post-game properly. What else and what all we're gonna be watching here. Yeah, well, that's one hell of an economy. That's kind of what tends to happen when you are having such a good game and are not getting raided as an Atlantean. Well done. 70 villages for HerroOP. Kiludai even got at 86 in there, so really good booming under pretty heavy pressure and pretty heavy raiding. And Thomas Shelby, not kinda bad. Not bad at all. But unfortunately, due to the raiding, he had to be taking a long time to be getting into Heroic Age even. And you can see how his economy actually struggled. 9,600. These are actually fairly low numbers. Was he missing upgrades? Maybe even till the end? Well, look at that. Pickaxe and right now at 20 minutes and no hand axe. So that is definitely explanation for the lower numbers in there, and that also could be explaining why he was having a bit of a struggle advancing into the Heroic Age, as he invested a bit more into the Classical Age fighting than he probably maybe even wanted. Yeah, well, as far as I know, he's gonna come in out of a bit of a rustiness, so he needs to be getting his A game in there, because when he's at his A game, that he can be playing, for example, even with Chemo, and yeah, well, kinda own him. And that match 2 years ago in the Frozen Times, it was right proper. So he does have the skill. Probably needs to be just getting a bit more familiar with the latest balance patch. And, well, getting into the form maybe. Let's see, maybe in the second game he's gonna be proving us wrong. And it's gonna be a whole lot different story for him. Kiludai and Goldline actually advancing no, almost similarly, even though it's still 1 minute and 36 difference in there, which is a lot. It's like the whole advance time into the Mythical Age, but still fairly nice, considering what we have seen and what kind of situation Kiludai was. But then, yeah, just not really possible to be doing anything against that if even your ally is going to be losing the town center, so therefore your trade is gonna be falling off. But quite nice idea at the start with the double shift, and well guarded actually by HerroOP. He was expecting it, so he was already guarding against it. And that basically resulted into not as many losses as it otherwise could have been, but still about 3 villages and quite a lot of downtime in there. Yeah, good army from Goldline. That's usual curve for Atlanteans, much faster than anybody else. And Thomas Shelby losing units, that was because, yeah, that was from the shifting sense, the animals. That's nothing all that important really, that happens every single game. And then he was going all the way up, having more units than HerroOP, but then the Norse units are obviously a bit stronger, and Loki is gonna be getting a few mythical units on top of that for free, and that makes a difference. Okay then, GG.